Hello, friends. This is Junie. Once again, we thank you for tuning in, and we are on Thursday's lesson, Written in the Heart. Question A: how is it possible to have the law of God in our life in the same way that Jesus had? As we know, he's our ultimate example. So, how did he do that? In Hebrews 10, verse 16 says, "This is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them." And also Hebrews 8:10 says, "For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind, and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people." And that should be our desire, that we ask the Lord to put his law within our hearts. And in the Desire of Ages, page 308, it says, "God has given us his holy precepts because he loves mankind. To shield us from the results of transgression, he reveals the principles of righteousness. The law is an expression of the thought of God. When received in Christ, it becomes our thought. It lifts us above the power of natural desires and tendencies, above temptations that lead to sin." And this is why it's important for us to seek for him and to search for him and read his word, so that we can have these laws and those thoughts within our hearts, and it will keep us from sinning. Question B: what does God show us before we can even begin this heavenward journey? As we know, our minds and our thoughts are elevated to where Christ is, and he's in the most holy place right now, interceding for you and I. And 1 John 4:19, it says, "We love him because he first loved us." And we know that Christ loved us first, and he came and he died for us, and so we love him in return for that. And then we go back to 1 John 4:8. We just go up a couple of verses. "He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love." So God is truly love. And in the same book it says, "The earth was dark through misapprehension of God, that the gloomy shadows might be lightened, that the world might be brought back to God. Satan's deceptive power was to be broken. This could not be done by force. The exercise of force is contrary to the principles of God's government. He desires only the service of love, and love cannot be commanded. It cannot be won by force or authority. Only by love is love awakened." Very important. Only by love is love awakened. To know God is to love him. His character must be manifested in contrast to the character of Satan. This work only one being in all the universe could do. Only he who knew the height and depth of the love of God could make it known. And so may God help us as we're continuing this lesson to see how the practicality of it all is that we need to cling to him, Christ, and then he will write the law within our hearts, and then we won't have the desire to sin, and we won't sin. And I pray that the Lord will help us. In part C, question C, it says, "What is possible only after this love of God is in our hearts?" John 14:15 and 15 through 17 says, "If ye love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you." And so we know that as we've been studying the law of God, that the unchangeable God, he can take us to that place he has prepared for us. He's longing and he's waiting to take us home. So may God help us, that we will keep his commandment. And how do we do that? We trust in him. We have the faith that if we cling to him, he will do his part. And we know we go to heaven only by his grace, and he will give us the strength to keep his commandments. And so may we be doers of the word and not just hearers, and that we will take in these lessons and we will cherish them in our hearts. So may God bless you. Be encouraged. Jesus is coming soon.